everybody? Welcome back to another video. Time sure does fly when you're having a hard time trying to get back on your feet, but nonetheless, I'm back for another video. Can't say for sure that I'm going to be consistent again this time because I'm probably going to be stuck spending more time having to work and sleep. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the time I got stranded on the way to court in the middle of fucking nowhere. Before I really get into that story, I want to update y'all on my legal situation since it's changed already since I last uploaded a video back in January. If you just want to hear the story, you can skip to this time post on the screen. There will also be a way to do it in the description below. As far as the case, I will be talking about it briefly as a whole just in case you don't know what the situation was. It was pretty scary for me considering the amount of mood swings I had to deal with, but for now I can at least talk about it to people without being so paranoid. Before we get into this video, please make sure to give this video a like, subscribe if you're new to my content, and don't forget to click on the notification bell to be notified whenever I upload. Share this video to anybody that's ever been stranded on the way to court, and let's play I Got Stranded on the Way to Court.
We fell in love so fast, yeah. We fell in love so fast. We fell in love so fast.
So basically, I got arrested in February 2021 for assault and disorderly conduct charges, thanks to my parents overreacting and essentially making stuff up. My stepdad tried to fight me over some food in a phone conversation, and the next thing you know, I'm homeless and fresh out of jail a few days later. I had a couple close calls when it came to long walks and zoning out too hard in the freezing cold, but thankfully I didn't get to sleep outside. But I was in and out of 6 different cribs in the span of 3 weeks until I had moved out of town with one of the guys I stayed with in an apartment he had already scheduled to move in with the landlord. I was scheduled to come back to a couple court hearings in May 2021. I was able to attend them in a Zoom call, so I figured the anxiety and pressure wouldn't be nearly as much compared to the last time I went to court, but that just wasn't the case. I found my own mother testifying against me on these charges. The judge was trying to give me 90 days. I had a roommate who couldn't have afforded everything himself at the time. I couldn't even afford a lawyer, and essentially if I give up and plead guilty or lost the case against essentially my family and the court system, I'd lose everything I had. My roommate would have had to fend for himself or move back to his parents, and I'd be left in the streets for dead 3 months later. Luckily, I was given a chance to take a plea deal and get the assault charge dropped, though. The sentencing was scheduled to be in August 2021, but it got rescheduled to January 2022 because my attorney had apparently made contact with somebody that had COVID, and knowing the court system, I already know they're not trying to take any chances with that. They were going to reschedule it to October 2021, though. They felt like I had missed my family in any type of way, and I just had to reassure them that that wasn't the case either. I don't need to be going back to that anytime soon. Sometime in December 2021, I ended up losing my car. The suspension gave out, the insurance on it had just expired, and I didn't have any money to get anything figured out, so I had to junk it. I mean, it was sitting in a Quick Trip parking lot for 3 weeks. I was pretty lucky that shit didn't get towed by somebody else. I was also lucky to work with my roommate right after that, but that also meant that I had to rely on my roommate to drive 15 minutes from his new place to me when he moved there in January, then an hour to the courthouse by 8:30 a.m. To top it all off, we both had to take the day off work. I also had to pay for his gas every time he gave me a ride in general, including to work. That was about $150 I missed out on. Now, with the story. Once upon a time, I was chilling at home smoking the night before the court hearing. It was like 4 in the morning towards the end of January. Around this time, my roommate had already moved out with his girlfriend, and I still lived in the old apartment. I also used to pull all-nighters every day and just sleep throughout the day and spend days at a time being stuck at home in sub-zero temperatures, not wearing clothes, and smoking weed. It's one hell of a feeling. Anyways, I was essentially just waiting for the time to come. It hit like 7 in the morning, 3 hours later, and I called him. He didn't answer, right? Another 15 minutes go by, and I call him again. He didn't answer again. I start getting paranoid. I remember getting that email last summer about that court hearing, and they specified in that email that I had to show up to court in person at 8:30. It's 7:15. It's an hour drive for me, and my roommate's an additional 15 minutes, and I couldn't even find out if he was on the way to me. Another 15 minutes go by, and he finally calls me back, saying that he lost his phone right when he got ready, and he had just found it. Right when that call ended, he started driving towards me. Another 20 minutes went by, and he didn't show up yet. Now I'm irritated. I'm expecting to just show up late as fuck to a whole court hearing with the judge and my parents waiting, so I called him again. This time he answered, and he said he had just crashed his car. For a second, I'm thinking it was bad, but he was quick to reiterate that it was just a snowbank and his car wasn't totaled. He then pulled up and got stuck in the snow in the parking lot just outside our apartment. It took us another 10 minutes to get unstuck and on the way to the courthouse. Once we left though, my roommate wanted wanted me to switch into the clothes he had brought from his place. He pretty much told me that I should wear proper, not regular clothes, considering it's a court sentencing hearing. For all I knew, I could have gone back to jail that day. I wanted to chill in the car for a bit and wait until we're like halfway there for me to change clothes. It's an hour drive, so I had a bit of time. But literally 10 minutes into the drive, my roommate's car steering wheel bends to the left, keeping the wheel straight, and his car just starts violently shaking. My roommate pulls over and checks his car but doesn't find anything. He tries to drive again and his car won't go faster than 30 without the back tires flopping around. He pulls over again. At this point, my anxiety gets worse. I'm still 50 minutes away from court. I had less than 20 minutes to show up and I'm stranded in a fucking field with a roommate's damaged car and no phone service. I couldn't even call in to tell them that I was going to be late. Perhaps I should have done that before I left, huh? Eventually, my roommate decides to say fuck it and keep driving. He figured that we're better off trying to make it there with a car than to be sitting ducks with no service. We didn't go any faster than 50 though, and that shaking was pretty annoying. We actually spun out a little and almost crashed on the freeway too, but he swerved his way back into his lane. We would finally show up to the courthouse just about 45 minutes late. My roommate and I walk inside the courthouse to the security section. We put everything metal we had in the metal detector bins. We asked where to go for court hearings, and we were told that all court hearings were being held on Zoom calls as of the week before. That meant that I didn't even need to show up in person despite the email I got 5 months prior. I mean, either way, I didn't have any information to take the call on my phone at home, so we would have had to show up for that info anyways. After we passed through security, one of the clerks looked up my name and gave me the info I needed to join this call. It took another 30 minutes for the call to even start for some odd reason, but the call did eventually start. I was the second person in the call to be sentenced, and it would essentially be a year of unsupervised probation and a fine of just under $500. I mean, that versus 3 months in jail and losing everything, I think that was a W. After the court call, we were basically free to leave. My roommate took us to the auto body shop down the street to get an invoice of how much it would cost to get his car fixed. The guy my roommate went to actually told us we were better off trying to fix the car nearby because we probably weren't going to make it an hour back home. The invoice was over $800. He had to call his dad to have him cover for it. Granted, he would pay him back. We were going to sit there and wait until the car was fixed, but after a couple hours, we realized that it's probably going to take all day for that to happen. So my roommate started calling around. I couldn't really do the same since I didn't really have anybody in touch that could help me out in a crunch like that at the time. My roommate was able to find somebody within 30 minutes. In conclusion of this story, one of my roommate's friends and his girlfriend comes to pick us up and brings us all the way back home. I was probably the only person in that car that wasn't in a good mood at all. I barely said anything. They would drop me off back at that apartment my roommate had moved out of already, and I would essentially take an excessive me time after losing my job the next day while they go about their lives. The end. The morals to this story, and I guess the little commentary montage I did for the beginning of this video is, don't abuse your kids and leave them for dead in the streets or the court system. There's probably people in this world who are going to do so anyway. Nothing you can really do about it besides protecting your own. Stay out of trouble with the law so you don't have to worry about making it to court. Oh wait, I forgot all court hearings are held on the Zoom now due to COVID, but who knows? That could change in a few years. Don't find out the hard way. Don't do drugs. Show up to school or work on time. Get good grades and paychecks, and keep watching my YouTube videos. Well, that should conclude everything related to this video. In these next few videos, I'm pretty much going to be talking about the remainder of my stay in the town I knew nobody in, moving back to the area I moved away from last year when I was homeless, and a couple of new stories that I think are worth telling that I've gotten since moving back. Stay tuned. I'll try to push out more videos again. Life just keeps defeating me. But thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, please give this video a like, subscribe if you're new to my content, and don't forget to click on the notification bell to be notified whenever I upload. Share this video to anybody that's ever been stranded on the way to court, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace out. Sauce.